Well, good morning. Good morning.
Happy
Good morning.
Thursday. It is Thursday. Yes, Princess of the Universe.
Mommy, Daddy, you're so loud and
Put your headphones on.
Yeah,
Wow,
we're interrupting Elevie right now in her drawing. We're so loud. Are we loud for you guys?
My office has walls that are literally like paper.
Did anyone complain yesterday?
And yesterday, Doogie Howser and I were doing a podcast, and we were screaming because I couldn't figure out how to.
No, we were
tech issues.
We were excited about what we were doing.
We were so loud. I'm sure the neighbors were like, "What in the ever-loving world?" And sometimes I'm tempted to come out and go, "Learn something." Because my neighbor, it's like a boiler room. He's over there swearing. And then
Do you learn
worst
anything
thing,
from him?
No, because the worst thing happened, guys. Can I tell you something? All of a sudden, I'm sitting in my office, and you know the type of clients that I have is everybody, right?
Yeah.
But some of them are actually in recovery. Some of them are. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting in my office, and I'm like, yeah, so let's talk about how you create a life worth being sober for. And weed starts to permeate down through the, I didn't tell you this, through the vents. And I'm
You
like,
mean smoke? The actual weed?
no, I mean, we weren't like getting a hot contact buzz.
No, I meant like they were bumping it.
No, the smell. So I was like, can you imagine how mortified I am? And so I'm like, so let's talk about triggers. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I messaged him like, dude, what's up? Right? So that happened. Then they're moving me into a smaller office because I'm in a double, right? And somebody wants that space. So it's like, hey guys, stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
You're trucking along fine, and then, anyway, funny because that's space. But I love that office space. It's a quality problem, right? I'm complaining about it, but it's beautiful. It's like a little greenhouse. There's actually trees and ponds in it. I'll do a live one day down there so you can see it. It's absolutely amazing.
You can just post a picture.
But no, because it's better to hear the bubbling brook, the babbling brook. It's better to hear it. Okay. So good morning. Good morning. The podcast was fun though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, DJ's awesome. Yeah, he tuned in. It was so crazy.
DJ's really rad. He's awesome.
So I actually brought it up, and I know Heidi's like, you always talk about that, and I about
how I talk.
Yeah, just like that.
Talk about that. Is that how I talk? I guess I do.
Okay. So I was just sharing how the power of putting yourself out there and networking and putting yourself in new environments. Yeah. And that's where I met DJ, was at a situation that it was an experience. All right. So tangent. So there was, remind me, situation. So there was a guy last night. I went to our friend David had with Signature Realty they had their fundraiser. And he plays drums. He's in a band, and so it was like Signature Realty's Got Talent. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's actually what it was called. Okay. And so anyway, this other guy, Preston, he's not on here, I'm sure, but amazing piano player. He goes to set up his thing. He's like, "Oh, let me get my chair situated." And then the guy at the table, this big guy with this, I guess his wife or girlfriend, was like, "Hey, let's get it situated. Get it? Situated. Do you get it?" And the woman was like, "Yeah, I got it." He's like, "Get it? Situated." Like she wasn't laughing, and because it wasn't that funny. And the poor guy was trying so hard to make it work. But anyway, so the opportunity was, it was a. Am I reminding you now about a situation? No, you don't have to. I remembered. Right. That was in case I just went too far off. So happens. The long and short of it is, there was an opportunity in Las Vegas, come train at this guy's house, yada, yada. Went and met some really cool people, and he's one of them. And he's like plugged in with Grant Cardone, and he's got this show, DJ Feelin' Live. So, go find him, check it out, and join the site, his page, and get on the podcast, because while we probably are going to talk a little bit about what we talked about on the podcast. I don't know if we looked at it. We can talk about something else. We can talk about whatever you want. Okay. Well, Let the inspiration bubble from inside you. So why is this a Mary Poppins musical this morning? Good morning, Wendy. So the long and short of it is, last night was fun and great, and the guy had a horrible humor. Oh, good times. And then it doesn't matter we put here, what do addicts and millionaires have in common? And what's
It's
interesting
not addiction. You might think so.
Is that it's just, and it was interesting, it just sort of came, coincidence as it were. There was a guy there who I had met before, and he is a very successful, very likely millionaire, and we had really deep conversation. And last night when I saw him, he was not in such a good way, and was a little inebriated, and like actually had to leave. And what was interesting is it actually just proved the point that Heidi and I were talking about, and the conversations that we were having yesterday about how what people really want. And that was really what it.
We were talking about, being coaches, and I don't know how it came up. It's about the importance of like really knowing your stuff, and like,
Danny.
Hey, Danny.
What's going on, Danny? Hey, Sean, how are
If
you?
you
Hey,
need
Wendy.
treatment, you need to go to Asheville and
go.
seek out our buddy Danny Dillo, who will take excellent care of you.
You're blowing up.
That are just helping massive amounts of people change their lives. And so, so yesterday when we were on this call, we were talking about how we honed our skills, right? Why we're so confident in our ability to help people. And I said to him that I really feel like it's so. But we're going to be talking for a little bit longer. Can I come get you when we're ready? Okay. You want to watch your iPad for a little bit, Goose? Okay.
I want to color one.
Sure, sounds good. So anyway, we were talking about how we honed our skills, and I said we had like a 7-year apprenticeship when we worked in treatment, right? And it's one thing to take a client when you're a coach who wants to like make more money, right? They're closing 20 deals, they want to close 30. They're making 6 figures, they want to make $500,000.
They want to scale and expand to another building, another location.
It's a whole nother thing when you're working with people who are coming from absolutely nothing, have lost it all, have lost, including not just stuff and people, but the will to really live, right? Yeah. The will to want to do anything at all. And so when we came into that environment as coaches, it really was an experiment in, do you know what you're doing? And
it was heavy lifting. Can
you help? And so if you're, that's a true transformational coach, right? I like, that's true transformation. And being able to take somebody who really isn't even sold on the idea of living their own life, right? They don't even know if they have a life worth living, helping them tap into their truest divine potential, realize that they're lovable, they're loved, help them love themselves again and believe in themselves again. So then he was saying, find authentic happiness, right? Because that's what we're all really after. Because addiction is just a lame attempt to try to be happy at first, Well,
addiction is a byproduct of the lame attempt.
Of a lame attempt to be happy. So he said, well, when you have other clients now that you're outside of treatment and really serving more of the population again, he said clients probably come in and you're probably like, quality problem, brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right. Please, you hear this? I said, not really, because it's all the same. Mm-hmm. I was tempted to kind of feel that way too. Oh, your problems must not be that bad, right? Because you have money, but one of my first clients had all the money she could ever want. And it's beautiful, honey.
Wow, look at that.
Gorgeous. You did it in the colors. I love it, baby. Will you make me another one?
Which one do you like the most?
Oh, I love Ariel the most.
Okay.
So she came in and, she had everything. She had all the money somebody could want. And I said to her, I was tempted to get sucked into, it must not be that bad. Color? Yes, you did, baby. It's the right color if it's the right color in your heart. Okay. And so I said to her, what can I give you? What are you really looking for? What do you really want? And she looked at me and said, authentic happiness. Right? Because even though she wasn't sticking a needle in her arm or drinking or ruining her family, or she was really miserable inside, she was unfulfilled. And at the end of the day, nobody's any better than anybody else, right? If we're all struggling, if we're all having this kind of unfulfilled place in us, we can look at somebody and go, it's not that bad. I'm not doing heroin. But you're staying up all night and not speaking to your wife and laying next to her and not communicating and haven't touched her. And, you haven't touched your husband in 5 years. Maybe you're not like destitute and homeless and lost your house, but you lost your child who's not speaking to you because you're emotionally unavailable, right? Everybody has their version of checking out, right? And what are we checking out from?
From everything. Basically, your ability to
fulfilled.
Right,
not feeling fulfilled.
And what we're doing is putting our attention towards something that is distracting us from what can be fulfilling, what we find fulfilling.
Yeah.
And also what a positive spin on this as well is, what do addicts and millionaires have in common? Well, they also have the ability to do whatever it takes to get a result.
That's right.
And that's one of the things that
I like that.
we sometimes forget, and we like cast this, brush of negativity around addiction. And the truth is they're human beings just like everyone else, just like all of us, and they're incredible, amazing people who unfortunately have ended up in a situation because of what they've been sort of focused on. So the good news is, if you redirect that focus and that energy, the next thing you know is that person can create extraordinary things, because they have the ability to just keep on pushing. When they hear no, when someone who's struggling with addiction and they need whatever it is they need, and then they get a no, what do? They find another way.
They don't care. They don't care.
All right, well, next, let's move on.
The research actually backs you up. Research shows that some of the most successful people on the planet, because I'm hot, some of the most successful people on the planet were former addicts or alcoholics, right? That they have the tenacity, the resilience, the figure it outable, I'll figure it out, make a way kind of mentality. And so some of the people that are running some of the most successful companies in the world today are former addicts and alcoholics. And so that's a real thing. But whenever we forget that and we say, oh, I'm not as bad as them, or I would never let myself get to that point, or who cares what the vice is? Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? I understand some vices create more destruction than other vices. I totally get that. But let's leave that aside and think for a minute. The compassion comes from the place of, oh, I see, if whatever it is I'm trying to fill up on, whatever it is, whether it's shopping or porn or heroin or other cheating
internet,
or likes or social media, or
which the internet is in the DSM-5 as a treatable addiction, by the way.
Yeah, so whatever it is the signal, the main message is what everybody has in common is there's a forever empty, never-ending hole because I'm not fulfilled. And why can't you have enough Oreos or wine or heroin or porn? Because you can never have enough of what you don't really want. And so that's the Band-Aid on the flesh wound. When we can get underneath and say, what is it that I'm really wanting that Oreo to do for me, or the heroin to relieve me from, then we start to make some significant progress in our lives. But that's not always sexy, right? Because people do want the pill. But you brought up yesterday, which I thought was so brilliant, like everybody wants the magic pill, but you talked about the blue pill and the red pill.
Oh, right. So in the Matrix, if you remember, Morpheus has the opportunity to give Neo the choice, the red pill or the blue pill, right? And the blue pill, he'll go back to the Matrix, or back to world. Yeah, right? Just go back to wake up, and it'll be exactly the way it was. Yeah. And the red pill, he's going to wake up, and he's going to, he's going to wake up. The red pill is going to open his mind, all that.
And he's going to see
right
everything else.
But all he said was, all I can do is show you. That's all the red pill does, is show you. It gives you awareness. And we can't make transformation without the awareness. But the challenge is people think the red pill is going to solve the problem, when what happens is, and this is why it's so important that you find somebody to support you on the journey, is once you raise that awareness in like psychological terms, called like decompensation and all stuff, like all of a sudden you start being aware of all this stuff that you want to change, and then you get overwhelmed, and you're like, oh my gosh, and it's all this stuff. So you need that support. That's what Morpheus was for Neo. He was his coach. He was his mentor to help guide him through once that awareness is created. So
I love this. This is really good.
So when you're like right now, like you're here,
you gotta be your own biggest fans, guys.
That's right.
I love what we're doing right now.
So yeah, can you imagine? But by the way, here's the thing: like and then the other metaphors of that, now come to think of it, is the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Right. So then there's behind the curtain, right? And here's the challenge: here we are on the very device that now some people are getting addicted to. If you're watching this right now, you're on a device that could very well be distracting you from getting the results that you want in the first place. And that was the same thing like in the Matrix. Like, so Neo opens his eyes. He's now learning how to work in the Matrix, but he's still got the Matrix going on in his head. So he's still going to make all those decisions. He still needs the coaching within the Matrix, if that makes sense.
Well, so the red pill, we're the red pill. right?
Yeah.
So,
we're and Morpheus.
And Morpheus. So yeah. So you're Neo. We're Morpheus. Let's all get on the same.
And now let's plug you in.
So here's the thing. I really do believe I'm like that red damn pill, because people will come in with like a presenting issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's this, or I just need to get that. But then all of a sudden it's like, do you really want to know what's going on with you? Because that's how my mind works,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, I always compare it to a beautiful mind. I have a beautiful mind. No, but he was crazy, right? This like disheveled professor.
And the difference.
I know, because I'm exactly like
Mm-hmm.
that, right? I'm like a
No, I meant crazy.
Yeah. Crazy genius. At least I get to be like genius status, right? In something in my life. But when somebody sits with me, it's like I'm a code cracker and all their stuff floats forward. And I'm able to see the red pill. Like I can see the red pill, right? And then I slowly give that to my client. And they're like, it's like if you go and get the best reading of your life, but it's stuff you weren't really truly aware of.
Right. And then you're like, now what?
And then Morpheus, right? Because then it's like, oh my gosh, now I really see. And that can feel very overwhelming, but it's really not. If you're working with the right person, to be able to chunk it down, break it down, say what's going to have the biggest impact first, and you just start moving in the right direction. And there's usually one underlying theme underneath of all of that will support this one thing we can work on that will really help everything else. And your friend DJ said it so brilliantly yesterday. He was like, the solution to all this, there is like a panacea, there is a magic pill. It's called love yourself first. It's called love yourself, but that's not, people know, oh, I know, honey, I need to love myself. It's so cute. Yeah. And I would go, how do you do it? Oh, I take baths. I get manicures. I go to the gym. That is not loving yourself. Loving yourself is telling the truth. It's holding your boundaries. It's following your intuition and developing your intuition. It's meeting your own needs and desires and not projecting them on other people. There's so many things involved. That's why I created that program.
Right.
Love yourself first, because I do know that is the solution.
And here's the thing. Yes. It's
all of it.
Not taking care of yourself, like not bathing, not getting a manicure, not doing
Just
that is a byproduct of
the
that.
other stuff.
So
Look,
can you do that one?
Yeah, I can. You want to see? It's really impressive. I know, guys. I can also do this.
Can you floss?
Yeah.
No, that's not quite it.
Oh, okay. I could do Uptown Funk. Okay, you guys, I'll dance for you tomorrow on Freaky Friday. I know you want me to. You're secretly asking in your mind right now. You're like, what would be really great is if they stop actually giving profound advice and Heidi just dances her magic hip hop moves. Yeah. I hear you, and I'm willing to do it. Why? I love you. I will be your circus monkey. Okay, I would look. Ooh, that's like a seal. Yeah. That's not really a monkey. Let's check in with our friends. Okay.
This is you.
I'm trying to read.
No.
I'm talking to you. Mm-hmm. If I get close to you, you really understand how much I care about you, right? Yeah, proximity is power. Feel the power?
I do.
Of my stare, my death stare.
Yeah.
What's the biggest struggle in sobriety? What's been the biggest struggle in sobriety is being distracted with self-fulfillment and vices and hobbies to find happiness instead of turning my life and will over to a higher power to help direct my thinking. Yeah, that's a whole nother level.
And it's true, but that's the whole
ego
thing.
Wants to try to figure out how I'm going to be most fulfilled and what I can do for everything. But when you commune in spirit and you let your definition of higher power come alongside of you, then whatever that higher power has planned for you is 9 times out of 10 so much bigger than you can possibly imagine and fulfills you 10 times more. And so we got to get out of our own ego way. But that's really what we do with people ultimately. Underneath of it all is help people really tap into that or find that higher power.
And the challenge is that's the oxymoron, the dichotomy of being human.
Kirk said, let's not do that again. I hope he's not talking about my funky dance moves, because I'm certainly going to be doing that
But
again.
Irk said something really cool before. Oh, there you go. Terry, 22 months. Hit enlightenment. Beautiful.
Is that what the hot seat is? Yeah, boy.
A little bit.
Yeah, boy.
So so basically, Derek, working with us is like getting a hot seat every session. So there's work. Yeah, that awareness effed me up. Thank God for the tools to deal with that I was suddenly aware of. Right. I I think you meant that in a good way, right? Effing sobriety.
Well, it's a rub because it's the happiest thing and it's also you're finally
the
awake.
Scariest thing.
It's like some people feel like I did a video on that about a pink cloud. You know, people get sober, take away the thing, and they think, oh, great, suddenly now I'm going to be happy, live happily ever after. Now you're just awake for a life you were medicating.
Right. So
now you can actually just see the red pill.
If you don't change,
oh, what am I looking at? Right.
Right. If you don't start changing how you've been, now you've just taken out the one thing that was
the
solution for you. And now you're like, oh, now what?
It's like food. It's like people think, oh yeah, I just stopped eating that food. Now my life's going to change.
You got to eat other food.
That was the only thing. Yeah. Right.
Well, that's the thing. If you just stop eating the junk food and you don't replace it with good food, then you die.
Listen, I remember, like, this is a personal journey for me, you know, almost 10 years ago, I looked like I had everything. I looked like I had happiness. Was making all the money, traveling the world, international business consultant, had it kind of like made from the outside looking in, right? Accomplished all these goals, climbed the ladders, but I was totally empty inside, full of anxiety, full of depression, and I was a binge drinker with an eating disorder. And I was filling up on alcohol and filling up on French fries in order to try to medicate my mediocre existence. And once I pulled away, I thought the alcohol and the food was the problem. So I thought my life's just going to magically get better. But as soon as I let that go, then I could see what was really going on and how I had set up my life in such a way that I was chronically self-reliant. I didn't let anybody else come alongside of me. I didn't trust anybody. I had all these other things that I was like, oh, wow, that's really the thing. And part of the ability to work with people is to use my life as like an aerial view and say, how have I gotten from point A to point B? How have I overcome these significant things in my life that caused me so much pain? And then, because I really think that's the definition of your purpose in life, is to turn your pain into power, your pain into purpose. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason for you to be going through struggle or strife other than to sharpen your ability to help somebody else out of hell. Right? That's what I really believe it's there for. And then Derek says he knows about the hot seat because he was in it, honey. Yeah. That's right.
And to kind of wrap that all around into then the what's similar is that the millionaire, just the person who doesn't struggle with addiction to substances, they have the exact same challenges to get to their next level, whatever that is. It's still whatever they're distracting themselves with. It's still the story they're telling themselves about why they can't do that, or why this issue is going to be difficult, or blaming the other environment, blaming their staff, blaming the economy, So as an example, and we're about to wrap up in a minute, as an example for last night, the thing that I went to, Signature Realty, Ben Shackman, check him out. He started his real estate company in 2008. Now, for those of you who know about real estate, 2008 was when everything was dying. People were leaving the business, and he started the exact same business that people were leaving because he wasn't going to be telling the story that it's too hard, that it's too difficult, the real estate business is dead and all of that. And I'm still seeing here, we're working with people down here and around the country who are doing real estate in areas that people say, oh, there's no more opportunities, the market is too soft, and they're still there. And the reason why people are getting it done is because they're not getting addicted to what could be holding them back.
All right, you're on.
Okay, what do you got to say?
Simply say, I want to take you for ice cream. Thank you for lip gloss.
Thank you for lip gloss and ice cream.
Lip gloss and ice cream yesterday.
All right.
All right, it's Thursday.
So do you have any messages for
any
our
other
friends?
Profound? You did a pretty profound. That's mine.
I want to dig for diamonds.
You want to dig for diamonds. That is where they're located.
Diamonds! Diamonds, wherever you are.
All right, Ellie.
Diamonds down there.
Okay.
Okay.
Love who you are and who you are.
Love you for who you are and who you aren't.
No, I said it.
As I know, you want to say it again? Go ahead.
We love who you aren't and who you are.
Correct.
Beautiful.
We love you just the way you are.
All right. So have a brilliant day. And Uncle Sean says good morning.
And I hope you have a wonderful day today. I hope you could listen and you could really do it. You gotta do it. You gotta pump it out.
Pump it out.
Gotta get exercises and get stronger
Yeah,
with muscle.
I like it.
Oh, look at those muscles.
Whoa.
Yes, you have to get some more muscle.
Mind muscles and body muscles. And
Love who you
spiritual
are
muscles.
and who you are.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
We love you.
We love who you
And
are
remember-
and who you are.
Share this. If you have any
Share
questions
the
you want us to cover,
musical
please,
today.
please send in any topics you'd like us to discuss. Join our YouTube channel, which is Revolutionary Growth TV. Subscribe, spread the love,
You wanna
and
say
we love you.
subscribe?
Tell them about that. You know how to do that.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
Subscribe to our video and click to our video and subscribe and give us thumbs up if you will remember us. Bye. We love you who you aren't and who you are.
Bye.
They're so cute. I can't.